Hello hunters and welcome to Savage Omega Planetus. This was my first successful run against the new Savage variant of the title update monster, and he is quite the challenge. So there's not going to be much editing in this video, it's just going to be pure commentary on the fight itself, what I was feeling when it happened, and any tips or tricks that I can provide in the moment for you to hopefully be able to successfully hunt Savage yourselves. Starting off, I utilized the support hunters, specifically Alessa for the tank role, Kai for the healing support, and Mina for sort of a pseudo-healing DPS. I myself acted as DPS and would also occasionally tank when needed. You'll see that happen a couple of times throughout the fight. Primarily, though, my focus was just staying alive. My goal wasn't even to win the fight, but purely to continue to learn so that I could get better as time went on. Up to this point, I hadn't yet managed to get past Area 2 of the fight because he would just cart me so frequently and so often. At the very end of the fight, I will have off to the side the armor set and skills that I was using, as well as the meal effects that I had active when the fight went on. And if you don't prefer to hear me talk about the fight, but just want to actually see the fight itself, I will also upload a commentary-less version. Phase 1 of the fight for Savage Omega Planetus is very much just learning his movement patterns. In this case, because it's the Savage variant as well, you want to start gaining Enmity immediately, otherwise he'll start spamming his attacks, which just results in team wipes frequently. Some of the best windows for attacking are when he's either deploying the little mini robots or when he's firing off the rocket arms. The Savage variant also has that cool downward jet stream that you saw, which will fix you in place if you don't have an item like Cleanser to be able to break you out of the ice, or if you don't come with an armor with bind resistance. Also, the Pictomancy spells that they gave us as a part of Title Update 3 and completing story missions are very useful in the fight, although I do forget to use them quite frequently. Much more fixated on surviving. In order to beat Savage Omega Planetus, I had to completely relearn my weapon. I'm so used to doing the double counter thrust and being able to time those attacks, but with Savage Omega, it seemed like more frequently than not, I would wind up putting myself in a more dangerous position by trying to do the counter thrust and avoid all the damage together, and it was much better to either just guard through it or, if applicable, perfect guard it. My perfect guard skills are actually less than stellar because I don't practice them nearly as much as I do the counter double thrust. We've now moved into the second area, sort of the second half of Phase 1, where now Enmity is very important for someone to be holding, otherwise he's going to start raging, and this is where Pantokrator mode actually begins. Here I'm looking up, trying to figure out exactly where the rock drop is and whether or not I can achieve it. There is a way, if you look at this shot here, you can see sort of these drippings that are hitting the ground to my right and then left. That's an easy indication of where exactly the rock is, so don't be like me and stop looking at the boss so that you can look at the ceiling. Just look at the ground and you should be able to figure out where exactly the rock drop happens. Right here we've entered Pantokrator mode. The way to break out of this mode, if you're unaware, is you need to break 3 leg wounds. And these are wounds that you generate, not wounds that can occur naturally. If he exists in Pantokrator mode for too long, he will have, I think it's affectionately referred to as a tantrum. And at the end of the tantrum, all of his legs will gain a wound. Those wounds do not count. Those are just weak spots, like what we see with Ray Dow's horns after a railgun shot. Those do not count towards the 3 leg breaks needed to force him out of this mode. This was very bad RNG right here, where Alessa had taken the Enmity, but unfortunately her positioning is forcing Omega on top of one of the mustard bombs that he had released earlier, so it made it incredibly difficult to actually attack the legs at times, depending on his positioning. And right there, I got completely bodied because of the ledge, and unfortunately there was really nothing I could do. My iframes on the ground were quite bad, and I didn't think far enough ahead to call the Seikret over to start the sprint, so I just had to take the L on that one. Made sure to restock items since I was already here. And then, of course, I did use a pre-buff set to enable maximum uptime on things like Mega Demon Drug, Mega Armor Skin. But by now, the Adamant Seed and Might Seed will have wore off, so I made sure to re-up those on the way back. Right here is Tantrum mode. You can see he's sort of thrashing about and it blowing fire. The easiest thing to do is just stay away. Hop on your Seikret, move away, don't try to attack right now. This is way too dangerous of a mode to do anything, but once he rages 3 times, you'll have a wound on the leg. I had both a good and a bad mount here. It's good that it happened in Pantokrator mode because that'll give a down and give an opening for wounding, but at the same time there was a guaranteed wound on the leg that was not taken advantage of. So, good for me and also shame on me. Again, I'm doing my best to remember to use the Pictomancy spells because they do decent damage, and you can do them at a slight distance, so for a melee weapon like the Lance, it gives you a little bit more range. You can also evade out of them, so worst case scenario, you just have to evade and try again in another minute. Some of the details being passed around online right now in how to beat Savage are making sure that the bladed weapons, so everything that isn't a ranged weapon or the hammer or the hunting horn, should be focused on the back legs as they have better hit zone values, whereas if you are a blunt weapon, you should be focusing on the front legs as they have better hit zone values. I knew this going in, but realistically in this fight, my prevailing idea wasn't that I was going to win, just that I needed to survive long enough to continue to learn, so I was attacking whatever leg was nearest to me at any given time. As you can see right there, there's a wound on the face after doing his large laser. So taking advantage of that, dropping a shield, not quite in the best area, considering one of the mustard bomb droppings is right here. And again, we see him throwing a Tantrum. He's been in Pantokrator mode long enough that we're on Tantrum number 2. And so now we should see the wounds on the legs right there. Again, unfortunate placement that he's right over top of one of his mustard bombs. And here he's using his Merv missile, which is focused on everybody because no one currently has Enmity. As much as I like Kai as a support hunter, it seems like for whatever reason his AI will get the mustard bombs just as frequently as the player character, and the AI isn't smart enough, capable enough to be able to put them somewhere that's advantageous for the player. It always feels like he's putting them side by side with ones that either already exist or he's staying too close to Savage, so they wind up dropping right where Savage is, where everyone's trying to hunt him. But that's just an observation of mine. Perhaps you have better luck with Kai or other support hunters, or you have the same problem with different support hunters. Tantrum number 3 with Savage Omega. We're going to be getting to Area 3 here shortly, and I see most players seem to have issues with the DPS check in Area 3. Personally, for me, I find I have the most difficulty with Pantokrator mode in Area 2. But we see Alessa did gain Omega Planetus's Enmity, and there's a wound on the foot. I'll be taking advantage of that. I'm not used to evading with the lance, I'm much more used to guarding with it, but for this fight in particular, I am running Evade Extender 3. See, that move would not have been nearly as easy to perform without Evade Extender. But my goal anytime I have a mustard bomb locked onto me is try to get it to the edge of the arena so that either it's affecting the least likely place that we would be fighting, or so that some of the area of effect is actually off of walkable terrain on the map. As you can see here, though, we wound up pushing Omega into a corner, which also isn't very advantageous. So if you are playing with a group of 4 hunters, whoever holds the Enmity should either try drawing Omega to a drop rock or other environmental advantageous positions, probably away from ledges, or at least so that Omega himself isn't on the ledge. Anytime Omega's transitioning between areas, I try and make sure to sharpen my weapon. Frequently, too, when entering an area, Omega will lock on to the first player that enters the area and start firing the mustard bomb. So if you are front in line to get into the area, don't bother jumping off your Seikret. Wait for that mustard bomb to lock onto you and keep it to the edge of the arena, or again, any other place that would be more advantageous to be so that you don't encounter it while fighting. Once you get to Area 3, Omega will start firing that orb, which then gives the HP down buff. And so long as you don't have Enmity, the buff wears off after a short time. But if you maintain Enmity, then that debuff will persist, and it can be stacked multiple times. So as you can see right there, my debuff ran out. I do love the clash with Omega. Fantastic. And right there, Alessa was hit with the debuff, which we can see off to the side. Right there we broke one of the legs, which then drops a piece that is pseudo-carvable. It's not a full carve, but it's not able to be picked up with the slinger. You have to actually go and pick the item up itself. The item is one of the little shield generators that you can use to produce a shield on demand. We're now entering the DPS check, where the Nerscylla is summoned in. I've switched to a paralysis weapon, and if you're playing with just the support hunters, it seems like consistently Nerscylla will fling itself towards the player immediately, so try and position yourself near a Cactaur or near one of the Morbols, where they can then spew out their bad breath, and you can keep Nerscylla pinned down. I also put on the Rocksteady Mantle, just to try and assist on DPS uptime for this part, since this is, again, wildly considered one of the more difficult portions. As you can see, between one Morbol and my paralysis weapon, we were able to keep Nerscylla essentially stun-locked in this area for almost the entire time that she's been out on the field. Nerscylla has now moved position, but again, it's directly over top of a Cactaur, so by activating that, we can get even more damage. And Nerscylla acts just like Omega Planetus with the Enmity system. If you gain the Enmity, you can keep Nerscylla pinned. Getting back on my mount to switch weapons, and since all we can do while the shield is generating is stand here, take advantage of this time to either rebuff, sharpen your weapons, heal, whatever's necessary. With any luck, your shield will be close enough to Omega that as soon as you leave, go activate the crumbling ice wall off to the side for a number of damage points. And there's also a rock drop that I did not take advantage of that's directly over top of him. That can also be used to activate even more damage or perhaps a second knockdown if timed correctly. It's at this point from here on out for the rest of the fight, I start to treat the support hunters more like actual hunters. So I use the various powders to keep them alive, and otherwise try to avoid drawing any of Omega's missile barrage attacks in any area where an NPC hunter is actually standing. Right there we see Alessa has been hit a second time with the orb, so now she has 2 stacks of the health down, and her health is probably roughly, what would that be, a third, 2/5 of the way down. The support hunters do seem capable enough to be able to withstand that kind of debuff. However, a player may want a break to have that debuff go away, which would mean that another hunter would need to take that aggro. Alessa was just hit with a 3rd one, so now her health is well below half of what would be expected for a hunter. But we do have Savage moving into the final area and the final phase of the fight, so she can recover from that debuff during this time. Again, I was the first one in the area, so I have the mustard bomb, which means I want to take it to the edge to a wall somewhere where it hopefully won't be in the way. And again, we've entered Pantokrator mode. Almost carded a second time, but thankfully from the blast I was able to propel myself far enough away that my Seikret grab got me out of range of the following attack. It was, of course, Mina using the Pictomancy spell that made me realize I should be using my Pictomancy spells. A lot of times the laser is saved for the Nerscylla DPS check. In my instance, I didn't use it there. Again, a part broke off of Omega, so we can use that as a shield generator. Right there, I fired off the shield generator I had since we had another one on the ground. May have helped save Alessa from some serious damage, and also gave us an area to be able to utilize for a minute or two to try and get as much DPS as possible. Even though both back legs are already broken, I'm still attacking them because, again, I am a severing weapon type, and so as a result, I have better hit zones in the back. Plus, it's typically away from the person tanking. Again, Alessa has 3 stacks now of the health down debuff, so now would probably be a good time for me to try and get in and take Enmity for a little bit, so that she can recover from that debuff, and so that's what I try doing here. Fortunately, though, I'm targeted again with the mustard bomb, and I fumbled my buttons and didn't sheath properly, but we were able to get a wound break, so that interrupted the mustard bomb attack. The safest place to be for one of the big lasers is behind Omega, and I mistimed my wound break, but frequently after that attack he will have a weak spot on the face that can generate a shield. Now I'm just trying to attack the face to draw the aggro so that hopefully we can finish this fight and survive. but he's entered his Tantrum once again, so just stay away. Stay far away when he's tantruming. If you are working with a team of hunters, you can try to coordinate wound breaks on all the legs. Here I try to pull off a lance tech of the back hops being more distant than the regular hop evades, but I'm not that skilled with the lance, so I took the second missile to the face. And it's right here where skulls pop up on Omega. And it's with that announcement from Mina that my heart is racing. As you can see here, depending on position for Omega, that laser beam attack can be blocked by the terrain, that one little rocky ledge that exists. Perhaps some of the dropped rocks from the ceiling that are typically used for Dahaad's ultimate move would also work, but none of them were down for me, and typically you'd want to use those for damage, not just evasion or blocking for his laser. Very lucky rock drop, just happened to clip his foot. We still need someone to take Enmity, so I'm going for an attack. I see a wound on the face, so break that for the bubble. The other rock drop again, very lucky, just close enough to his foot that it counted. Safest place to be from Omega's laser is behind him. If you have a high-reaching wound break move like Lance does, you might be able to get the ones that are sort of in his shoulder joints, but the higher-up ones that are on the, I'll call them the tips of his legs, those ones are a hard reach even for me. Maybe something like a Charge Blade or a Switch Axe might be able to get those, but I've now drawn the Enmity, so I'm going much more defensive than I was before. With any luck, hopefully I can keep Omega still enough that Alessa can then take the Enmity from me and allow me to get back to breaking wounds, damaging the legs. Another good rock drop. And right there, Alessa took the Enmity. Got a little greedy there. I should have been blocking for the rocket punch, but I was hoping I could hit it with the last hit of the triple thrust. I haven't talked about it much this fight, mainly because I'm not used to looking over at the log of events that happens on the right side of the screen. But Omega does announce the Starboard and Larboard cannons, which, thankfully, with guard up and the lance, I'm able to block through it so long as my health isn't super low. Starboard is his right side, and Larboard is his left side. You have to hang on. A good mount from the support hunters here gives us an opening for some DPS. An optimal mount times would be in Pantokrator mode or at the very end of the fight. Since the shield is up, I figure I would take advantage of the situation and the best hit zone and attack at the face, even if it draws me the Enmity. Was just barely able to heal in time before his second sprint maneuver knocked me off my Seikret. And again, Alessa has gained the Enmity, which gives me a chance to heal and sharpen. And we've entered Tantrum mode, so this will give us a free window of damage again at the very end. I saw the pop-up a minute or two ago that I only had 5 minutes left. And it didn't matter because I was just one hit away after Tantrum mode, and Omega Planetus died. And here I am standing, in shock, controller down, that I actually was able to manage the fight. So, I hope watching this video makes some of you realize that you don't need to play absolutely 100% perfectly. Having a good build, which I'll put on the side of the screen, and eating the right meal, and having the right support hunters, treating them like teammates, or going out and getting the right teammates, will net you the victory that you need. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe. If you want to see more content like this, leave me a like. If you're not a member of the Patreon, please consider helping support the channel on Patreon. And until Title Update 4, may your RNG be kind and the Desire Sensor be blind. Goodbye for now, but not for long. Oh yeah, I did it, I did it, I did it. What are you looking at, Rosso? You wish you could do this gesture. Oh yeah, who's hot? We're hot. Look at us. Mm-hmm.